you will never feel ready before you do it. You will only start feeling ready as you are already consistently doing it. Do not ever depend on feeling ready. That is an illusion, and that is the dumbest, stupidest thing you could ever do, honey. You need to depend on consistency and devotion and a tiny bit of self-trust. Hello, my beautiful angels. Welcome to Heart Space Atelier. My name is Henry. I'm your host. Welcome to my podcast. Hello, hello, hello. Listen, guys, I'm a little bit out of breath because this is a very spare of the moment episode. I thought I was gonna record tomorrow, but I was just like in this wild, chaotic, vibrant, creative energy because of the dancing session I just had. And I was like, why don't I just sit down and say hello and record? And I know exactly what I'm gonna talk about in this episode. However, I did not plan this at all. I quickly put these wonderful wild roses, is it? Here, I lit a candle and somehow I managed to look put together, put my Siren Spell Choker on at trollscharms.com. I somehow try to hide the mess that's going on in the background because I'm moving. So this is going to be a quick episode, but the message I have to share is needed. And I need you to hear this, especially this summer. I need you to know that you have to expand yourself this summer. Now, what do I mean by that? I want you to ask yourself in what area you have recently been holding yourself back, in what area have you felt some kind of resistance, and in what area you have just not been embracing yourself as much as you have been wanting to do. And now I don't know if any of you have the same issue, but me, for example, like I sometimes struggle a lot with doing things on my own, especially when it involves going to places like cafes by myself. And I've had such a hard time coming to terms with that and accepting that I do have a hard time doing those things on my own. Because, as some of you may know, like I travel the world alone, I do so much alone. And I kept telling myself, like, because I do all of it alone, and I do go to cafes myself from time to time, that I am somebody that doesn't really have an issue with it. And yes, on some level that is true, because I'm doing it, so that must mean I am maybe a step further than somebody who wouldn't do those things alone. But truth be told, every single time I think about going to a cafe to work, to edit the podcast or whatever the fuck I'm working on, to write a Substack, I get so anxious. And now this week has kind of like been, I would say this week is the expansion week for me. Because I have been doing things that are very much out of my comfort zone. For example, beginning of this week, I went out with my friend, and this was such a normal moment. So I don't expect you guys to understand the great deal that it was to me, because it honestly meant a lot to me. Like, we went to this cafe before it closed. And I already felt this kind of like tension rising within me because I was well aware that they were about to close in like 10 minutes or something. And I felt really bad for like marching in. But my friend, being so wonderfully straightforward and like extroverted, well, at least more extroverted than I am, we kind of walked in there and had the best experience, and we got this incredible iced strawberry matcha. It was the best matcha I've ever had in my entire life, might I add. and we had some small talk with the barista guy. And it was such a wholesome experience, and it left me feeling so radiant and happy. And I told her, like, listen, I wouldn't be doing this if I was alone right now. Like, I wouldn't have done this if I was alone right now. And somehow, this seemingly normal, mundane moment shifted something within me. And I thought to myself, why do I not do these things alone? Why do I feel uncomfortable expanding my life and my routines when I'm alone? Because most of the time, when I see a pretty cafe and I really want to sit down in there, I tend to walk past it. Not because I'm like, oh my God, I'm scared, but subconsciously, that is exactly what I think, because on my mind, the first thing would be like, no, I don't have time. But actually, that is just a cover up, because subconsciously, I do be thinking that I'm scared. I do be thinking that I am kind of feeling some kind of anxiety creeping up if I were to sit down alone. So these things are always a big deal to me. And ever since that incident happened, beginning of the week, I was like, you know what? I'm going to challenge myself. I am going to sit down in cafes, restaurants, wherever the fuck I feel like it. And now this is just the beginning. And I told you, like, I have no issue traveling alone. I'm not really scared when I like fly by myself, when I travel by myself. That is all completely fine to me. But like doing the little things like going to a workout class, going to a concert by myself, going to a cafe by myself, like it takes energy. And that doesn't mean that I never do these things, because I regularly do these things. But I also catch myself more and more not doing those things, even though I really, really want to, because I'm scared. So I am taking myself on a challenge this summer, which is called the Expansion Challenge. And I would love for you to join it. And now there's literally no rules for this challenge at all, except asking yourself, in what area, like personally, to you, do you feel like you want to desperately expand, but you are holding yourself back somehow? You know, just like the story I just told you. And by the way, today, this evening, I went back to this exact cafe and got my beloved strawberry matcha, because I was like, I want to ease into this and I want to do more of this, and I want to create a ripple effect and more expand my horizons. Even when it just starts by me revisiting this cafe alone by myself and channeling my inner confidence, and instead of like pulling away and not doing it because I'm too scared. What moment, what situation do you feel you could apply more expansion? Also, feel free to let me know. I'd love to know, whatever situation it is for you. It could be dyeing your hair. Maybe you have always wanted to dye your hair pink, dye your hair purple, cut your hair short, get a bob cut, like, could be anything. Or it could be like painting your nails a different color, or like wearing a risky, quote unquote, risky outfit. What is it? Or like going to a bar yourself because you are single and you are tired of online dating and you have sworn off online dating, but you still are craving some kind of like some mingling this summer, you know, wherever it leads, and you want to put yourself out there, but you're so scared. What is it? And I invite you into this challenge, into this mindset, into this expansion, because we're in it together. I'm no better than you, honey. I'm no better than you. Okay? Like, I have my issues. I get scared, as I just told you, but is it gonna stop me? Hell fucking no. I'm tired of being stopped. I'm tired of walking past little social events, especially here in Berlin. Like, there's so many going on all the time. And so many times I catch myself walking past it because I feel anxious and I feel quote unquote not ready. But feeling not ready is an illusion. It's an illusion because you will never ever feel ready. Did I feel ready when I released my first podcast episode? No. Did I feel ready when I first sat on the plane for my solo traveling? When I first solo traveled by myself for the first time ever? No, I did not feel ready. Literally, I thought I was going to die because I wouldn't be able to find my directions from the airport to the Airbnb. I literally thought I was going to die at the airport because I wouldn't be able to find myself around honey. Of course I did. Of course I figured it out. We have so many irrational fears that are consciously and also subconsciously in the little in-between moments leading us, directing us, but they have no business doing so. What should lead us and direct us is our confidence and our magic and our inspirations and our visions and our Pinterest board vibes, okay? Like, I have so many things on my Pinterest board this year, which is like, like hanging out with friends at the bar, or going to the lake with a group of people, or like having a beautiful workout class, yoga class, or, working from the cafe. Like, this is such a big deal to me. I know it may sound insane, but like, as I said, it's like I do be feeling nervous as fuck sometimes. Might I add, not all the time. Like, sometimes I feel like I can handle it easier, but I want to get to a state where it's the norm for me, where it's normal for me to wake up and just march in there like it's my second nature. As well, like, if you are deeply craving a change in your life, ask yourself, what do I need to do to trigger it? Maybe it is dyeing your hair. Maybe it is getting that tattoo. Maybe it is finally starting that Substack or Instagram or TikTok or YouTube channel. Maybe it is inspiring others to do the same. Maybe it is finally sharing your vulnerability on the internet. Maybe it is finally sharing your poetry, your words, your craft with other people. Because at the end of the day, that is not a threat to your survival. That will only level you up. I used to think when I first started out, which was like many years ago, when I first started posting stuff on social media, I was so deeply insecure. And over time, it is truly like a practice. You only start feeling ready over time, but you will never feel ready before you do it. She's just nodding in agreement. You will never feel ready before you do it. You will only start feeling ready as you are already consistently doing it. Do not ever depend on feeling ready. That is an illusion, and that is the dumbest, stupidest thing you could ever do, honey. You need to depend on consistency and devotion and a tiny bit of self-trust. I don't care how little self-trust you have, as long as you have this tiny ass spark. It is going to be okay. It is going to be okay as long as you anchor into that. By the way, if you are craving more ease to flow into your life, feel free to check out my juicy little online course. It's called The Easy Life. Link is down below in the description box. It is basically a mini private podcast where I yap about how you can make your life more easy on many different levels. We go deep in this mini podcast. So feel free to join. It's only $11, okay? Like, not as in like 1,100 euros, but like $11.11. 11 euros, sorry. What the fuck? Anyway, and also one final example I want to share with you is when I started my jewelry brand, 12th Charms, which was only a couple of months ago. It was in February, actually, when the Fire Horse year officially began. I launched my jewelry business. And for the longest time, I had such a hard time with taking it seriously and charging for my creations and actually believing that other people would be interested. Even after I started like getting the first orders and stuff, I would still somehow feel this little voice in my head telling me it's worthless, you know? And that is exactly when you have to keep going. And that is exactly when I kept going. And I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna let this tiny ass voice dictate my dream because this is so fun. I love creating jewelry. I love wearing the crystal jewelry with intention. And I have received so many messages from the angels who ordered necklaces from my website themselves being like, oh my goodness, this is totally shifting my energy. Oh my goodness, I for some reason after wearing this necklace I feel like there's a constant stream of magic and abundance unlocked in my life. And I'm like, oh my god, yes, this is why I do this shit. And it is so much fun and it is fulfilling my inner child so much. If I believe in it, why do I think that others will not believe in it? Because most likely, others will be even more convinced of your craft than you are. I've had this happen so many times. For example, when I would post something on social media, like a Instagram reel, and I'll be like, well, this message is kind of boring, because at that point I also listened to it a couple of times because I was editing it, and at some point I will just be like, okay, we get it, like maybe people will be interested, maybe people will be not, but for me this message is boring. And then that video blows up out of nowhere. Boom. Hello. You know, you have to put yourself out there despite feeling like you are not ready, despite feeling like it is not finished, despite feeling like it is quote unquote bad content or bad art or bad whatever. Honey, it is not up for you to judge. You are simply the artist. You are simply the universal divine messenger. You are simply the channel that the universe uses to create through. It is not up for you to judge. It is really not up for you to judge. Make sure that you take the ego out of it and you show up and you share it with the world. Because it is not up for you to keep to yourself just because you judge it. You have no business in that. It doesn't matter. Your judgment does not matter. It doesn't. And this is also a very healing message, especially to the perfectionists out there, including myself. Like, I do be having a hard time a lot of the times, but I continuously challenge myself to put it out anyway. Because I know deep down in my heart, it is perfect as it is. And the only person that is criticizing it is my ego or some kind of really sad person, hater out there on the internet who I don't even give a fuck about. I laugh about when I see comments like that. It does not matter. You have to put yourself out there because you are so deeply valuable. And just because you do not see it does not mean that you are unworthy and that it's worthless and that people are not inspired. Because as I said, some of the most boring videos I thought were boring and mediocre at best ended up having so much wisdom for other people. And that is what I want you to know. That is where I want to expand the most this summer. Okay, we went a little off topic here, but I feel like it needed to be let out. Anyway, my beautiful angels, we have arrived at the end of this podcast episode. Short but sweet. I hope you enjoyed it. If you would like to connect with me, feel free to check out my social medias down below. I am posting every day. And also, if you would like to secure yourself one of my charms, feel free to check out my website at schwarzcharms.com if you are interested in wearing alchemized, handmade, crystal jewelry created by yours truly with intention and a shit ton of incredible energy. Okay? I swear to you, like, something shifts when you put it on. When I put it on, something shifts. When the people who have already ordered one put it on, I've heard some nice stories, okay? So if you're interested, feel free to check it out down below. Feel free to check out my Easy Life course. Feel free to check out my Substack. I'm trying to post bi-weekly on there. We're gonna see if I can keep up with that because I have like a billion creative projects, which I'm also deeply devoted to. But anyway, I hope you're having a wonderful, wonderful, beautiful day or night or whenever you're watching this. And I shall see you very soon on Heartspace Atelier next week, Thursday, 4 p.m. I love you. Bye bye.